What actually makes someone good at Guild Wars 2? Is it damage? Is it the gear? Is it how many hours you've played? Because I've seen players with thousands of hours who still struggle with basic mechanics. And I've seen newer players who just started who already understand things that some veterans don't. So, what is it? What actually separates a good Guild Wars 2 player from everyone else? Because the game doesn't really tell you. It doesn't say, hey, this is what you should focus on, or this is what actually matters, or this is what makes you better. And because of that, a lot of players end up focusing on the wrong things. They chase damage, they chase gear, they chase builds, but being good at Guild Wars 2 isn't really about any of that. It's not what you think. I think the first thing we need to talk about is what doesn't make you a good player. Because a lot of people assume it's things like having the best gear, doing the most damage, having the perfect build. And don't get me wrong, those things matter, but they're not the foundation. You can have full ascended gear, a meta build, perfect stats, and still not actually play well. Because Guild Wars 2 isn't just about what you have, it's about how you play. And that's where the difference really starts to show. Awareness is everything. If there's one thing that separates good players from average players in Guild Wars 2, it's awareness. And I don't just mean paying attention. I mean understanding what's happening around you in real time. Good players, they see the mechanics coming, they react quickly, and they position themselves correctly. They're not just pressing buttons, they're thinking about what's happening. For example, instead of standing still and tanking damage, they're already moving around. Instead of reacting late, they're anticipating. And this is something the game doesn't really teach you directly. You kind of have to learn it over time. Movement and positioning. Movement is one of the biggest differences I notice. A lot of players treat Guild Wars 2 like a traditional MMO. They stand still, they focus on their rotation, they tunnel vision. But Guild Wars 2 isn't built like that. Movement is part of your skill. Dodging, repositioning, staying with your group, these things matter more than people think. And I think that Guild Wars 2 is kind of the poster child for what a modern MMO would look like with how combat is. A good player isn't just dealing damage, they're staying alive. And in Guild Wars 2, staying alive is often more important than doing slightly more damage. Playing with the group. Another big thing that separates good players is how they play with others, because Guild Wars 2 is very group focused. Whether it's open world, fractals, raids, anything like that, you're almost always playing around other people. Even world events, things like that, it kind of tied in with the open world, but most of the time it's always you and someone else. And a lot of players, they don't really realize this because they're so focused in their own little world. Being a good player isn't just about yourself, it's about how you fit into the group. For example, if you're doing fractals or raids or anything like that, stacking with your team, staying in range of boons and healing, not running off on your own, trying to kind of do your own thing. There might be a plan set in motion, and if you just deviate from that plan, if you're in a raid, it could kill everyone. You never know. These things, these small things make a big difference. A good player makes the group stronger, and a bad player makes things harder for everyone. Understanding the game. Another thing that separates good players is understanding the game, not just memorizing it. There's a difference between knowing a build and understanding its nuances and how it works and why it works. There's a difference between copying a rotation and understanding how your skills interact with one another. Good players don't just follow guides, they understand the systems behind it. Things like boons, the conditions, the cooldowns, the interactions of all of your abilities together. They might not know everything, but they understand enough to adapt. Adaptability. And that brings me to one of the most important things: adaptability. And because no matter how good your build is, things don't always go as planned. Mechanics happen, players make mistakes, situations change, and good players adjust. They don't panic, they don't freeze, they don't blame everything else, even though sometimes they do. Everyone has their moments, but they adapt. Maybe they change their positioning of how they are doing a boss, or they adjust their playstyle. Sometimes I've seen people have to swap to like a healer setup in a way just because they notice that everyone else is just dying too fast, or they focus more on the survival of themselves more. That type of flexibility is what makes them consistent. Mindset. But honestly, I think the biggest difference is in the mindset. Because at the end of the day, the best players aren't perfect. They just think differently. They're always learning, improving, adjusting. When something goes wrong, they don't just say, "This is bad design. This game's trash." They ask, "What could I have done better?" The mindset alone will take you further than better gear, better builds, and more hours played. What it really means to be good. So when you put all of this together, being a good Guild Wars 2 player isn't about being perfect or doing the most damage or knowing everything. It's about awareness of everything around you, the positioning of where you are, understanding of what is just you're doing, the adaptability of your situation, and the mindset in which you are in and how you approach the game. And the reason I think this matters is because Guild Wars 2 doesn't really explain any of this. It gives you the tools, but doesn't really tell you how to use them effectively. And that's why a lot of players feel stuck, not because they're bad, but because they're focusing on the wrong things. So I'm curious, what do you think actually makes a good Guild Wars 2 player? Is it the skill? Is it the experience? Is it the knowledge? Is it something else entirely? Anyways, I just want to say thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you, and I will hopefully see you all in the next one.